All right, so a 1.5 mile run is a common test in law enforcement. Some may have a mile, some might have 2 miles. This all applies to all of those. Just 1.5 miles, I believe, to be the most common, so that's the one we're gonna talk about. Number 1, applies to all fitness. It's a basic principle of fitness, is progressive overload. You have to progress your training somehow, whether that means increasing intensity, decreasing rest, increasing duration, increasing distance. Something has to change over the course of the training plan, otherwise you're just gonna stay stagnant. Number 2 is you have to run slow, or you should run slow to run fast. And here's how that works. Running slow, particularly the zone 2 intensity, which has become very popular recently. There's a few different definitions for it, but what I've always used is 60 to 70% of your heart rate max. Or if you don't want to track your heart rate, don't really care, it gets a little too nerdy for you, then it's a conversational pace. So it's a pace you can run and still maintain a conversation with somebody running next to you. At that intensity, at that lower intensity, your heart rate is at a pace that allows the ventricles, the chambers of your heart, to fully fill with blood. And with a lot of training in the zone, it'll actually stretch out those chambers so then you can pump more blood per beat. This is why runners will have very low resting heart rates, because their need for blood throughout their body doesn't change, but their ability to pump more blood per beat has increased, so they need less beats to pump out blood. So that lowers their resting heart rate. So with that, you're going to be able to pump more blood more efficiently to the muscles you need working, transporting oxygen to the muscles, working muscles, and getting rid of carbon dioxide and all the waste products from the muscle. So my third recommendation is to set your goal and run your goal. And what that means is, say your goal is an 11-15 mile and a half. That would be a 7:30 per mile pace. With a 7:30 per mile pace, that's a half-mile pace of 3:45. So run half-mile intervals at 3:45, rest as much as needed, run a second one, rest as much as needed, run a third one. If you are unable to maintain that pace for those 3 intervals with as much rest as you need in between, then it's probably too extensive of a goal, too dramatic of a goal. Change your goal up and pick a pace that you can at least maintain for 3 sets with as much rest in between of a half mile at the same pace. Now, once you can do that, start reducing the rest down. Say you took 8 minutes rest the first time around, second time around, make it 7:45. Third time around, make it 7:30. You can make more dramatic jumps, but you still want to reach your goal or hit your goal pace that you set for yourself. Continue to do that until that rest time is basically down to 0. Another option would be to add additional intervals onto that, but you do want the rest times reducing down, because that is, at the end of the day, at the end of the training plan, at the end of the training cycle, that is the pace you're going to want to run your 1.5 miles on. If you want more information on this, check out the blog at effective.fitness.